We now welcome back onto the Second Swing Thoughts podcast. Special guest Kevin Streelman, two-time winner on the PGA Tour. First, Kevin, thank you for the time. Welcome back. I want to talk to you about equipment this time. I know in the previous segment with you was a lot about your career, so stories from tour. But after all, we're kind of a golf equipment company. So I know you're a gearhead, collector of golf clubs and putters. So wanted to get into that. First thing I wanted to do, you've got some putters with you there. Yeah. So I guess, and those are, we talked a little bit kind of off camera, off air, just about how, the significance of each of those and what they've done for your career. So I wanted to kind of give you the chance to just talk through each of those, what, when you've used them, what you like about each of them. I mean, literally just going to let you run through each of those 5 putters.
Well, it's just, I don't even know where to start. It's like putters to me, I've always loved trying different feels, trying different grips, trying different faces. Mm-hmm. Probably to my detriment. Like I probably, like if I could go back and tell my son who's starting golf, let's pick you one putter built to you, and then you get great with that putter. Yeah. You're gonna have ups and downs, but that's your baby, and you got to take care of it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes your son misbehaves. You don't leave him. It's like you stay with your son. Right. Yeah. And so this is your baby, and so that's kind of what I wish I had done. But all that being said, I wasn't very good at that. So I do have a ton of putters. I do like trying different stuff. I do believe in new technologies that I think are really good. But at the end of the day, you look at what Tiger did. You look at what Stricker did. You look at what Jordan Spieth has done. Some of the best putters you name. They pretty much had one wand that they stuck with. Yeah. And so probably the worst thing I could do was get my tour card, and then I all of a sudden had access to any putter I wanted. Right. So going back here, this was the 2-ball blade. This is like the old Annika. This thing's about to pop off. What I'm going to do when that happens. But I've always just loved, the toe hang, but also the look of a straight line kind of Newport or Ping Answer type blade look. Mm-hmm. But I always feel the plumber's neck is, to me, for my stroke, the right amount of rotation to get that ball rolling. Okay. And so that's kind of, I would always start with the neck that probably allows you to roll the ball the best. Some of us are straight back, some of us flare it like crazy, and there's whether it's a flange, whether it's a plumber's neck, whether it's a center shaft, whether it's face balance, there's no right answer for that, but there is a right answer for you. Yeah. And so that's where I think is a good place to start and to believe in. So that being said, I've loved the look of this putter. I love the idea the balls are easy to line up. Mm-hmm. And I always love the old white hot face. Yeah. Which now that I brought this back on tour this year, I Mondayed at Sony with this putter, made 3 of my first 4 cuts with this putter, had a nice 15th at Torrey with this putter. The Odyssey guys were like, well, we got the AI face now, and so they're trying to make the new putter with the AI face. And I go, that is cool technology, and it's probably would be beneficial. This is what I like the feel of. Yeah. And so this is what I have been sticking. Sure. So all that being said, this putter is probably older than some of the people watching this podcast, but to my eye, it works, and I'm confident that when I have a big putt that means something, it's going to put it where I want to. So that's really the most important of all of this. Okay. So
is that one you would consider? You'd consider that one in the bag right now?
This is definitely in the bag right now. Okay. Yeah. All right. I said you guys might have it for sale over there for $34 maybe. This putter, it's definitely not the top level condition that you guys pick. But to me, it sits square and it rolls a ball where I want it to go. And so that's pretty good. And then, kind of along those same lines, this guy, I think I have 400 some starts on the PGA Tour. I probably have 250 or 300 of them with this old Scotty Newport 2. And it's no tour issue, Circle T, GSS, none of that stuff. This is off the rack. There's actually Sharpie I put on the top that I just.
Oh, that's just Sharpie.
Yeah, just Sharpie. Huh. I did have the Duke Blue painted dot right there, but that's literally it. I had my buddy Aaron Valdez, who's now at True Spec, drill to get weight up on the heel and toe, which could be something that maybe I like the feel of it. That gives me some stabilization. But all we were trying to do is increase swing weight because it was a 330 gram head, and I'm down at 33 3/4 length. So
Okay.
to get it up to the D5, D6 swing weight, which I like the feel of, we had to drill tungsten into the toe and the heel. So that was kind of a
Sure.
one part that's kind of unique to this. But besides that, this is just an off-the-rack Scotty that just, in my eye, sits just perfectly square. But this is the one at Hartford where I one-putted the last 10 holes and birdied the last 7 is with this putter here. So this is another one of those that will never be leaving my house, or my son will never be able to put this.
Yeah,
in
there's
his
a
bag.
lot of there's a lot of sentimental value to that one.
Yeah,
right?
that one means a lot. And then kind of, it's fun. My first time ever to the Scotty Cameron studio, that's a memory I had. That was always like a dream of mine, and I couldn't get in there forever. I was on the mini tours. I think I was leading both the Gateway Tour money list and the Hooters Tour money list at the same time. I was kind of bouncing back and forth, was having a really good summer the year before I got my tour card, so they finally let me go into the studio and get fit, and this is what I got. And it's just an old Laguna 2.5 that has the same weights, portals in the bottom, weight ports in the bottom that got us up to swing weight, kind of the same deal. But I've always been a thin top line guy, and to me this is like one of the thinnest ones Scotty ever did, and it's just similar to the Ping, the Fax Day. No, that was Scotty. The Ping one was the.
I'm trying to remember what that shape was. Hold on.
I'll think of it. But anyway, it's just a look, a good flow. Once again, it has the plumber's neck, and that swing weight where I want it with the the iambic grips. I always like the nice flat top line on it, and rolls nice. So
yeah,
that one's kind of good sentimental value as well. This one is like probably the coolest, probably the most valuable one I own too, because this is one of the Tiger heads that got so famous, obviously, from the 15, or he won 14 of his majors with his GSS Newport 2, and this is the GSS Newport 2 Tiger head, thin top line, dot on the top, Cameron & Co., 350 grams. It's got the KS initials on the toe, and it's blank on the bottom, tri-sole. I got my tour card 6th round with this putter, so that's means a lot to me.
That's really cool.
I wish he'd still made putters that look exactly like this.
Yeah.
They've gotten, in my opinion, like a little blockier, a little wider, thicker. Like I said, I like that thin face, promotes feel to me, almost more trampoline effect, but it's just like, it's got that feel.
Yeah.
It's hard to really describe it, but I think it comes from that face being very thin. And so this to me is probably the best Newport style putter that was ever made.
Yeah.
And there aren't a lot of them. So
well, that exact style has won plenty. I mean, it's done a lot of good for a lot of good players.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about historic. What else do I have? Oh, this is what I won my first PGA Tour event with in Tampa, and just the old GoLo.
Yeah.
The little wider GoLo. I did the T line on the top, which I kind of liked. Went straight into the ball, and then I felt I could square it off to my target line pretty well. Got a little lead tape on the bottom. Yeah. Across the middle of it to get it up to swing weight.
I see some kind of royal blue accents or trim on that. Is that a Duke thing?
Always a Duke blue stuff. Yeah. I put some scripture on the toe, but the one difference here, so it is a, less of a. Well, that's a good question. Is this the same toe hang?
I was going to ask about that because the neck is different.
This, it is a different neck. So see how there's a touch more toe hang in the Newport than on the GoLo. Yep. And so, once again, that's total preference. There's not a right or a wrong. But the cool thing that I tell people who are testing putters or want to see the difference, if you can go into a studio like yours and see the roll percentage or see the roll face to path, the how square you're getting it at impact, how are you getting it there? Maybe a more face balanced tendency, people would kind of go out and hold it to in versus a very, like a Justin Leonard type stroke, or Ben Crenshaw with more of like an 8802. 8813, one of those like old putters.
Really bring the putter on an arc.
Really swing. Yep. So that promotes you going into out. We all have our strokes. So it's like, it's not necessarily having a perfect stroke, but it's having your perfect stroke and being consistent with it and then building a putter around that. Yeah. And I think that's what you guys do so well here. You have all the options of all the necks, of all the weights, of all the putters. historic. I mean, actually.
Yeah.
And without the preference of saying it's only Ping or it's only Scotty
Right.
or it's only Wilson. Like it's cool that it's just it's what's best for your client. It's what's best for your customer.
Yeah. And
so I've won with both. So there's not necessarily a perfect way to do it.
Yeah, it's really cool that you have there's a little bit of a variety in your putters too. So you've got obviously that's sort of a rounded mid mallet almost, a GoLo head with the sort of double bend neck. But then you've got your obviously the plumber's necks with the Newports and Newport 2.
Lagunas,
So that's fascinating. And kind of on that note, I wanted to ask too about just in general your philosophy on changing equipment. So, and it could be related to putters or it could be driver, iron, whatever it is. But like, what kind of testing do you do to actually make a change?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because I know so often it's about, you see guys when they're on contracts, it's like, all right, get the new stuff in the bag. I guess for you, what does that testing process look like, and what do you need to see before you swap?
I hope to start the year with the same 14 clubs that I've finished the year with. That's always the hope at the start of the year. Does it happen? Not too frequently. I would say historically, I've always found irons pretty easy to kind of dial in and get right. Maybe that's because I played the same Wilson set pretty much for the last 14, 15 years I've been on tour. It's a blade-looking, slight cavity player club that feels incredible. Same lies and lofts every year. The same shaft. I played a Project X 6.5 for years.
Okay.
Since college, really. I mean, for 25 years, I played the same shaft. And it's kind of one of those, could I optimize? Maybe a little bit. But when I see my 6-iron at 6,000 RPMs, which is ideal, or my 5-iron at 5,000 RPM spin rate I'm talking about, with the ball that I play, there's not much else to think about. If you like the look of something, you like the feel of something, which I've always loved with that CG of Wilson. And so, it's and then wedges should be pretty easy as well. You kind of pick your grind that's most versatile, I would say. I'm not the type of guy who goes, I'm going to the British Open, I want to take bounce off, and I'm here in Florida and it's mushy and I want to add bounce. I kind of want to have a versatile wedge that I feel comfortable on both of those options. And I have always found a 59, 60 degree. I bounced around from Wilson, I bounced around from Vokey, but they're pretty much old Cleveland 588s that I grew up with when I was 12, 13, 14 years old, what I learned the game on, that type of bounce. And just a clean looking standard good lob wedge and sand wedge. And so I go 59, 53, 47. So I have 6 degrees between each of my wedges. Switch those out probably every month or two as far as the amount of golf that I play and our accessibility on tour. My irons will pretty much last all year. Get rid of those at the end of each year just to get fresh grooves. And then driver, 3-wood. I've had probably my 5-wood is my baby that I've kind of stuck with.
I haven't. I've done some research as to what model it is.
Oh, yeah.
So the Ping G, right?
It's a G.
So the G is a 2016 maybe?
Yeah.
2015?
Maybe 15. Yeah, I bet it's 10 years old.
Is that just? I'm getting the sense from just talking to you that there's a look and feel element that is hard for you to deviate from.
There's a trust.
Yeah.
It goes 241 all day, every day, with the same spin rate. There's no surprises.
Yeah.
We want the ball to go as far as possible. And some of the new 5-woods and you've hit them and they're like, that thing's awesome, but it's gone. There's no chance that's landing on a long par 3 or a par 5 and stopping. Yeah. So that's why my 5-wood, I almost view it as like a long iron because I want it to go 241. I don't want it to go 255 and I don't want it to go 225. So I love that it's a very consistent. I get it a little shorter. I get it a little heavier. So that takes away that kind of shot in my opinion. And it also helps me pop it out of the rough pretty easily. So it's been a very versatile club. I've been doing it that way for 15 years probably. It has been with Ping. I've had a few TaylorMade along the way. I've had a few Wilson. But right now this G is just kind of, if I need to hit a fairway, I'm not feeling great with driver through it. It's like,
so there's no reason to expect that'll come out of the bag anytime soon?
No. The 3-wood and driver, I've been a ping guy most of my career. It was pretty much plug and play from the Gs to the G5, G10,
Yeah.
G20, G400, G400 Max. I had a 2-year window that I drove at probably the best of my career, and was like top 25 in strokes gained driver. And I was also like the shortest guy. Like if I had another 10 yards, I'd have been top 3 in that. So, and then I remember in Vegas, they take our drivers once every few months to test them. It was 1 point over on the bounce test, which now we know there's like 3 degrees of variance. So I could have fought for it, but at the time we didn't have that right to do. And so they took that driver from me. And that's a whole nother, I don't believe you should be able to do that the day before our competition.
Yeah.
And just be like, oh, now, Ping's trying to pack up, but now they got to build me a driver real quick. Where I've used the same thing for 2 years, competed in major championships and player championships and like had success. And all of a sudden you're going to take away the most important piece of equipment in my bag just because it's 1 point over on like the high heel where no one even hits it.
Right.
I got a problem with that.
Yeah.
And so I got that out.
But yeah.
That being said, right now, this year, I switched to the Elite, the Callaway Elite.
Oh.
I found that very consistent across the face, pretty darn straight, and really nice feel. So,
very good. Yeah, it's been really good feedback on the Elites and bays too.
Yeah, actually the 3-wood too. I've been messing with that 3-wood as well. So. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of a fun look in the bag there. Yeah. That was awesome. And you answered a question I had too there, which was like, if you mentioned kind of with your irons, you like to see 5,000 with 500, 6, so when you're testing new clubs, there's probably a little bit also like now with the technology we have today of launch monitor readings and getting the numbers that you want, while also still for you, I know it needs to be pleasing to the eye and needs to feel good. It's kind of a combination of both of those things probably during your testing.
Well, and it's a great progression. I didn't quite fully answer your question, but like I'll want to try a new club, like up at Wisbrock playing for $20 with my buddies, and like see what it's like on 18 with actually a little pressure.
Oh, okay.
And then maybe it makes it a trip to the next tour event, and I'll use it during the practice rounds, and then in the pro-am, and then maybe give it a shot in the show.
Okay.
But I always have an extra one or two with me. I usually have 2 drivers and 2 putters that travel with me. Driver in case it breaks or you want to try something new, and putter in case they stop behaving. Yeah. But it is important to the amount of flights we go on, the amount of like our bags get banged around commercial airlines. So you got to be pretty careful with that.
Yeah. I mean, so kind of in starting to wrap here, I know this is obviously it's been really cool to kind of get a look into the mind of Kevin Streelman when it comes to equipment. What advice do you have for amateur players? So I know you probably through your career you've probably played with all kinds. I mean, you said you play with your buddies, but even like even in pro-ams and stuff, I'm sure you see all kinds of things. What advice do you have for amateurs when it comes to their equipment on the equipment side?
Well, it probably starts with the understanding that there are clubs, shafts, alignment, things that can help you, and you need to definitely attack and go after those potential benefits that are available to you. And a place here like Second Swing is just, like I said, for gearheads and nerds like us, it's the greatest thing in the world. Like you got every 3-wood, 5-wood driver, putter for the last 50 years, like sitting right here. Get fit, get adjusted, check out your lies and lofts and stuff. You want to get those all where they need to be. And then once you see the improvement, maybe a little better launch, a little less spin, you got to go just play. You got to go just play and see what it does when it matters. Yeah. And the cool thing that you guys have here too at Second Swing is we have 30 days to bring it back and say, you know what, it spun a little more on the course than I saw here. Could I let's find one with a little stiffer shaft or maybe a little less torque or something like that. That's what's so cool, because you probably have it sitting right there and you can go try that now. Because what we see here on the launch monitors, it's a great starting point, but it's not the golf course. So you need to get nervous. You need to get on the course with your buddies and making fun of each other and a few bucks on the line, a few beers in the body and stuff. But you need to test it out in the real world. And that's what's so nice about a place like this.
I appreciate that you're referring to the real world as playing with a few bucks on the line and some beers in you with the buddies. In the same way that the real world for you is probably out on the PGA Tour playing for millions of dollars.
Well, I enjoy both.
Yeah.
I really do enjoy both, which is what I need to in the game to still be in love with it for as long as I've done it. You got to enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
And it's just a beautiful game that we get to play with our friends and our families for hopefully a long time in our lives.
Yeah.
And so that's what I love so much about it.
Well, Kevin, this is awesome. Appreciate you bringing in the putters.
Yeah.
It was really cool. But it's been great to pick your brain a little bit.
My pleasure.
So yeah, we wish you the best of luck moving forward with competing on the PGA Tour. But again, thanks for swinging by. It's been awesome to talk to you about golf equipment.
Anytime. Love doing it.